I yield to Congressman Fred Upton.
Well, I thank the gentleman. I thank the gentleman, my good friend, for hosting this hour tonight, and I look forward to the comments by all my colleagues from Michigan, Illinois. Let me just start off by saying a couple things. I had a great ninth grade civics teacher, Mr. Denikus. And we learned about how the government worked. And you pass a bill in the House and you pass a bill in the Senate. I learned later on that the House bill is always better than the Senate. But, you know, in this case, John Shimkus and I, and he's going to be a speaker from Illinois a little bit later on yet this evening. John Shimkus and I were two conferees on this bill. And I got to say that as we debated this bill, there were some elements that were not so good. But at the end of the day, as this bill meshed together, we took the best elements of both the House and the Senate bill, and we got a bill that the president was able to sign. And, you know, I can remember being trashed left and right back in November and December about what this bill was going to do or not going to do. It wasn't going to provide real tax relief to the working class. Companies weren't really going to give bonuses. This was all just going to be bogus arguments. But now at the end of the day, 2 months plus since the bill was signed and became enacted, my constituents are finding out good things about the bill. Yes, they're getting real take-home pay increases from the jobs that they do. Yes, they're getting bonuses. I was at a small little almost farmer's market, multi-generational market down in Niles, Michigan, just north of Notre Dame. Shelton's, they have 83 employees. The owners gave every employee there a bonus. And I talked to one of them who literally stocks the shelves. He got $600. And he said, you know, Mr. Upton, I said, call me Fred. He said, this wasn't just crumbs. This made a real difference. I said, what are you going to do with that $600? He said, you know, my wife has cancer, and I bought her a new dress. He was so excited that increase in the take-home pay was actually going to do some real benefit for he and his family. I was at a groundbreaking at Pfizer, my largest employer in Portage, Michigan. Not only did they announce that they're in the next couple of years going to invest $6 billion, that's B as in big, $6 billion in new facilities here in North America. They also announced that they're going to give $100 million in bonuses for all of their non-executive employees. That's real money. And that's thanks to tax reform. Mr. Wahlberg talked a little bit about some of the utilities in Michigan. I was with, or a little bit earlier today, the chair of Consumers Energy, very important player, and the chair of DTE as well. Yes, because of the reduction in the corporate tax rates, they are going to pass on those savings as they want to the consumers. In the case of Consumers Energy, they're going to give back $200 million in rate relief to virtually every one of their customers that they serve across the board. That's good news. It has to be approved by the Public Service Commission, but in fact, that money's going to be there. So whether it's a small business who's now going to get a lower rate, that pass-through rate means a lot, keeping your deductions on health care, seeing the highest corporate rate being reduced to 21%, and I remember well that debate that we had between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama back in 2012. September of 2012, the question was on tax reform, and even Barack Obama said that he would support lowering that corporate tax rate to 25% because we are already at the highest corporate tax rate in the world. That's what this bill did. And thank goodness. And, you know, the last point I'd make is, you know, I was tired of economic growth being at 0.7% or 1%. We can do better than that. This bill is now starting to lead the way to see that happen. In fact, the report even this week, I think, is predicting a 3.5% growth rate for fiscal year or for calendar year 2018. That is a far cry from where we were just a few years ago. And I dare say, in large part, it's due because workers are, in fact, getting more money from their paychecks. We've reduced the corporate rate, so companies, instead of having an incentive to go overseas, as they did with my largest employer in one of my counties a few years ago, they now have a reason to come home and invest that money here. So I appreciate the gentleman. Look forward to the other folks' comments tonight. And I would yield back to my good friend, gentleman from the great state of Michigan.